construction outside Cuba's most important cemetery has been extensive, but never quite explained. Maybe readying for a historic moment? It's already where Cuba's famed early revolutionary Jose Marti is buried, honored daily. Could there now be place for Fidel Castro here too? His final resting spot was never an easily discussed subject when he was alive, far too politically sensitive. That's just the sort of Cuba he helped create. A destiny uncertain, but its modern revolutionary beginnings crystal clear. Biran in eastern Cuba and the Castro family homestead, once a 12,000-hectare sugar plantation owned by Fidel's father. Now it's a museum.
And how many people worked for him here?
150, 160, maybe more.
Wow.
It was, by the way, the first private property handed over to the government when the revolution was won. Castro insisted on it, to the horror of his mother.
Was she upset with him?
Yeah.
She was mad.
Yeah, of course.
Lázaro Castro Aguilera, the Castro part he chose himself. He is now the keeper of the place, a man of undying loyalty to the Castro legacy. A new fresh flower picked every day, placed beneath a photo of Lina Cruz, Fidel Castro's mother, a woman he maintains endured much, starting with Fidel's birth. Really?
Yeah.
It was Fidel's crib.
Yeah.
You were saying before Fidel was a big baby.
Yeah. But when Fidel born, 12 pounds, Fidel's mother said, "Oh my God, it's a horse." And now it's a horse.
Because all Cubans talk about Fidel as a horse, as a strong man.
The family home has long been a place of pilgrimage in Cuba. The stories told to the mostly Cuban tourists, largely about a young boy who from the start seemed destined for something big.
Yeah.
When did he go to school here?
This, the one-room schoolhouse he attended with the children of the farm workers, each row a grade, 1 through 5.
When he began, he had 4-year-old light listener, no student, just listening.
He was just listening.
Yeah.
He was 4.
4-year-old.
Was he the youngest person here?
Yeah.
And the story goes, he sat in the front row, center seat, transfixed. The stubborn seeds of rebellion taking root even in this curious pocket of privilege. He was, by all accounts, kind of an odd kid.
At the ripe old age of 7, Fidel Castro threatened to burn this whole place down if his father didn't agree to let him keep going to school. He got his way. And then a few years later, he became so upset at the treatment of the workers on this farm by his dad that he threatened to organize a rebellion of the workers against his father if his dad didn't start paying them better. At that point, Castro was 12.
It would be tempting to pronounce these tales as exaggerated if it weren't for the flashes of proof that Fidel Castro was, from the very start, brazen enough to know he could affect change.
My good friend Roosevelt, I like to hear the radio, and I am very happy, because I heard in it that you will be president for a new period.
That is how the handwritten letter from an ambitious young man starts. It was penned in 1940. It's now in the possession of the U.S. National Archives.
If you like, give me a $10 bill green American, because never I have not seen a $10 bill green American, and I would like to have one of them.
Bold request, but then again, this shouldn't be a surprise considering who it was coming from.
Goodbye, your friend, Fidel Castro.
Just over a decade later, Castro would lead the revolution that would overthrow the dictator Batista. He started it here in the East. All of Cuba's revolution started here. The population poorer, less Spanish, more Caribbean than other parts of the island. Inequality always a preoccupation. The mountain path up the Sierra Maestra is well worn now, but back in the 50s it was a secret, only known to the runners who supplied the guerrilla camp, Castro's camp, where the revolution was directed.
Most important house.
The original bed, the original fridge to store medicines, carried up on the backs of loyal locals. A bullet hole in the side, a near miss from a skirmish with Batista's men.
Can you show me the trapdoor?
And for the ever paranoid Castro, a trap door in case the camp was invaded.
He's not supposed to do that.
Okay.
But it's
No,
okay.
there was
Could make a quick escape to get out of there.
You see the escapers, the
Yep.
alarms. Oh.
Okay.
It's one thing to imagine life in those days of Che Guevara and Fidel Castro plotting destiny in the jungle, another to have proof of what it was like. Luckily, we do, a little treasure from the archives. A CBC interview conducted on this very spot back in Castro's heyday.
We have got many victories.
We brought it with us up the mountain, showed it to a group of British tourists.
We're from Canadian Broadcasting, and in 1958 we had a cameraman come here to this spot and interview Fidel. And so we were just, if you want to see it, I don't...
What kind of government would you establish? Would you be president?
The questions all political, the answers, of course, beginning with the lighting of a cigar.
We will establish a real representative and democratic government. The relations between Canada and the people of Cuba will not be affected for that reason, because Canadian government have nothing to do with that airplane. We, the Cubans, want to be friends of the Canadians.
There you go. Canada's nice.
So we sold planes to the.
That's right.
To Batista.
That's right. He was unhappy with you,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
fine with Canada.
From the answers, the questions, one that lingers still. How did the wealthy, white, well-educated Castro engender such loyalty amongst poor Cubans who were largely nothing like him?
In Cuba's history, that's funny. Most of the people who have been fighting for independence were those who were either in medium-class families or higher. The rest has just joined the group. But the ideas have been of these people, and really seeing how well they live. A lot of Cubans do not conceive that they would change all that comfort for such poor conditions.
Travel the revolutionary road and you can't help but find those who profess unfailing loyalty to Castro, part decree, part desire, part deepest of sincerity. Some spots aren't that well identified. Here, the stoop of a now abandoned apartment in Santiago. This is where the young Castro came to live when he insisted on going to school and had to leave the farm. Not a commemorative sign in sight, but someone better. 95-year-old Maria Estevez, who lives right next door.
This is the last time Fidel was here in 2003. And here is her.
The picture of a rare visit, now an heirloom of sorts. How does she feel about Castro?
Para mí vale bastante.
For me, he means a lot. The other one, I'm not sure about. But him, I believe he tried to do a lot for us. But I don't want to make a mistake.
She has something she's determined we see.
Oh, look at this, Fidel.
Fidel.
Firstly, behind that Castro portrait, bullet holes, left over from the revolution when Castro's men seized the police station across the street. Of those, she's proud. Of the rest, horrified.
Mi casa se está derrumbando, está en
My
peligro.
house is falling down. It's in danger of collapsing. But if he knew how I was living, he will fix my house. I am sure of it.
It's not safe.
Mira, en este cuarto no se puede dormir.
There's more to see, more that makes her mad about her living conditions, about the problem with waiting for change.
Yo creo que él trató de ayudar bastante.
I believe he tried to help enough. But maybe those that worked with him didn't do as much. They got sidetracked. But him, yes, he had great ideas. Everyone loved him. I love him.
Mira la cocina, esa es la mía arriba.
Ah, okay, I see the roof. So she lives above that.
Mira el techo cómo está.
Proof of what Cubans, and not just Maria, often say, that the revolution isn't over. Erasing inequality remains unfinished business. Even at Fidel Castro's very doorstep, all is not right. And now there's no one left to wait for to come fix it. Adrienne Arsenault, CBC News, Santiago, Cuba.